You saw the title and thumbnail for this video, and trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are. I never really expected to be applying for the Amex Business Gold card, especially not so soon with how high of a minimum spending requirement it has for the welcome offer. But I mean, here we are. Until now, I've been on a 12 card streak of getting automatically approved for all of my applications. So why would I really want to risk breaking that streak with this card? Don't worry, I'll be answering that question and many more in this video, broken down into 4 main sections. Part 1 is going to be a brief review of the Amex Business Gold card, and I hope that through that review, you'll be able to tell if this card is worth it for you or not. In part 2, I'll be discussing why I'm personally applying for it, seemingly out of the blue. In part 3, I'll be giving y'all my data points before applying for this card so you can kind of see how your data stacks up to mine if you do want to apply for it. And then finally, in part 4, I'll be doing a live application for this card while explaining a couple of tips and tricks as to how you may be able to get approved as well. With all of that being said, let's dive into part 1, a review of the Amex Business Gold card. The annual fee on this card is a whopping $375. It used to be $295 before they made some recent changes to the card over the last year or so. And the welcome offer for this card has remained the same as before they made the changes. And right now it's sitting at anywhere between 70,000 and 150,000 Amex membership rewards points for spending $10,000 on the card in the first 3 months of having it. As for the earning categories with it, it's going to give you 4x back on your top 2 eligible spending categories each billing cycle. And this is honestly pretty hard to beat in the grand scheme of things, especially when earning Amex membership rewards points. And as for what the eligible categories are, those are going to be advertising with US media providers, US restaurants, US gas stations, transit, and US wireless telephone services. And do note that you only get that 4x back on the first $150,000 worth of spend in those 4x categories, and they do change month to month depending on which one is the highest for you. But overall, all that spend over the course of the year is only 4x up to that first 150K. After that, it's going to drop to 1x, which is the base earning rate for everything else on this card. And you also do get 3x back on flights and prepaid hotels through Amex's travel portal with this card. These 4x categories have always been a pretty popular reason to get this credit card, but whenever they made these changes, yes, they did add the 2 eligible categories of transit as well as the US wireless telephone services, but they added those in place of air travel and US shipping purchases. And I feel like the 4x back on shipping purchases was a big draw to this card, so that definitely is a big loss for people. Now we know that it has that $375 annual fee, so how are we going to make value back from this card aside from the welcome offer and spending categories? Well, luckily they did add 2 monthly credits to this card, and luckily is a loose term here because I don't know about you, I don't really like monthly credits, but so you know what they are. They have one $240 flexible credit for select business merchants, and one of the select business merchants is actually Grubhub, which is in line with the personal gold card. So if I do get approved for this card, I do plan on using that credit for Grubhub. And as I mentioned, this is a monthly credit, so that's only going to be given to you in $20 per month increments, but it's definitely a decent way to get value back from this card. So I plan on trying to use it as much as I can. Little quick tip for those that either have or are planning on using the Grubhub credits. The best way to actually get value back from that credit is to set all of your orders to pickup. That way you don't have to tip the driver or pay the delivery fees. You actually get a good price for your order, and that credit actually means something rather than just making you spend money that you wouldn't have spent before. On top of that, it also has a $155 Walmart Plus credit, and this is going to cover the monthly subscription cost of Walmart Plus for you. Now, one big perk of Walmart Plus is that it does come with a Paramount Plus membership. For me, I wouldn't have ever paid for Paramount Plus before having this card, so that does not count in lowering my effective annual fee. But a helpful use case for me personally would be the fact that it does give you some discounts on your gas purchases, specifically 5 to 10% off per gallon for Walmart and Murphy gas stations, and 10 cents per gallon off of select Exxon and Mobil gas station locations as well. Again, would I have Walmart Plus for this alone? Definitely not. So again, I wouldn't count this in lowering my effective annual fee, but I will be using it to its fullest extent, and maybe by the end of it, it actually does help me a little bit. Walmart Plus also comes with a lot of other perks specific to Walmart, but I do not shop at Walmart or have one anywhere near me, so you might actually get a lot of value from that credit, but for me, I would have to kind of stretch it a little bit. I do want to mention that along with the other changes they made to this card, they did remove the 25% points rebate feature, which used to be a huge value proposition of this card. And the Business Platinum card does still have this, and it's actually for a 35% points rebate, which is given to you if you book any eligible flights through Amex's travel portal using points. And that's up to 1 million points back per year, which obviously can be valuable if you use the travel portal a lot. With the Business Platinum, you do have to select the airline you want to get those rebates for, and it also has to be the same one that you selected for your $200 airline incidental fee credit, but still very powerful nonetheless. Now that was for the Business Platinum, but for the Business Gold, which you used to be able to get with this, was the same exact thing, but for 25% back. And for those curious, let's just work out the math as to how much that points rebate feature actually increases your cent per point value when booking flights through Amex's travel portal using the Business Gold card. So let's take an example booking of 100,000 points through Amex's travel portal. We can subtract out 25,000 points because they would be giving that back to us, that 25% rebate, which would net out to 75,000 points. Now we can take the cash value of that 100,000 point booking, which would be $1,000 at 1 cent per point, and divide by 75,000 points, multiply by 100. That gives us a cent per point rate of 1.33 cents per point, meaning that that points rebate feature effectively gave you a 33% boost on your points whenever you booked any airfare through their travel portal using Amex membership rewards points. So all of this to say, again, they took this away from the Amex Business Gold card. And I know a lot of people that used to have this card really liked it for that perk alone. And now the only way to get that same kind of perk and actually get a higher value on your points, 1.54 cents per point by using this method, you would need the Amex Business Platinum, but that has a $695 annual fee. Now, assuming that I do get approved for this card, which could be a big assumption, as with all of my credit cards, I always want to find a way to track my welcome offer spend, especially on a card like this one that has $10,000 worth of spend needed in 3 months. Now that's where my credit card management app of choice comes in, that being Max Rewards. Max Rewards is an all-in-one credit card management app that allows you to track things like your total card balances, point balances, bill due dates, and more from all of your cards from basically any lender all in one place. And as I mentioned, one of my favorite free perks of Max Rewards is the fact that you can add welcome bonus trackers to any one of the credit cards you apply for, even if the lenders who you're getting those cards from do not have that kind of tracker in their app. Now this really helps me plan out my spend accordingly and make sure that I'm going to hit the welcome offers on time, because if you don't, then you're kind of wasting a credit card application, in my opinion. And while Max Rewards does offer a lot more free features than just this, I do personally pay for Max Rewards Gold because it not only automatically activates my quarterly rotating categories for me on my cards like the Chase Freedom Flex, but it also automatically activates all of my credit card offers for me, which it would do with this Amex Business Gold as well. One of my other favorite Max Rewards Gold features is the card value tab, which tells you exactly how much value you've gotten from your card based on the card member year as well as the calendar year. That way you can see if you're paying a high annual fee, if that card is actually still worth it for you. And either way, that's going to help you decide whether you should downgrade, cancel, or keep your card in the end. So if you even just want to try out the free features of Max Rewards, please be sure to download it through the link in my description. And if during the sign up process you enter the promo code Spencer, you'll get a 1-month discount off of your annual Max Rewards Gold subscription if you do decide to upgrade. So be sure to go ahead and lock that in whenever you sign up. And as always, thank you to Max Rewards for sponsoring this video, but let's get back to the content. Okay, now let's move into part 2 here. Why am I actually applying for the Amex Business Gold? Now, the first and biggest reason is because I do have a large tax payment coming up that I need to pay. With me working on this YouTube channel full time for 8 months out of the last year, this is actually the first time in my life I've had to pay my taxes rather than getting, a refund for it. And with my write-offs for the business, as well as, other standard deductions and a little bit of a refund from my W-2 work that I did last year as well, my tax burden ended up being right around $7,000. Now, I don't know about you, but anytime I have any kind of large expense, especially one this big, I'm definitely looking for a new card bonus to put that purchase towards. And the reason for that is because a welcome offer is going to give you, normally anywhere from 15 to like 50% back on those purchases within that welcome bonus spending requirement. And with the offer that I'm hoping to get on the Amex Business Gold, that would be an effective return on spend of 30%, which is way better than any of my other credit cards would give you. And you need better than just like a normal 2% back on these kinds of purchases, because particularly for these tax purchases, you do have to usually pay some kind of convenience fee in order to pay your taxes with a credit card. So say that fee is 3%, well, effectively I'm still earning 27% back on that purchase, which for me, I'll take all day. I also would have never been able to really naturally hit this $10,000 worth of spend in 3 months. So I honestly didn't even think of adding this card to my setup until I talked with my buddy Stan the Credit Frog about this predicament I was in. And during our conversation, I realized that now may be like one of the only times that I can actually justify hitting the welcome offer for the Amex Business Gold. So even though it wasn't on my roadmap before, it was kind of now or never. And speaking of cards I've never considered before, it is very likely that, in the next year, my tax burden is a little bit higher. So the Amex Business Platinum might actually be a great card for me to add for my taxes next year. We'll just have to see about that. And the second big reason that I want the Amex Business Gold card right now in particular is because it does have an elevated welcome offer on it. Of course, elevated welcome offers are kind of constantly going around out there. And for the Amex Business Gold at the time of me recording, the elevated offer is for 150,000 Amex membership rewards points, which I could definitely do something with. And since I don't currently have access to this elevated offer through any of my links, at least yet, we'll see if I get approved for this card, and then there will be a link down below if so. As always, the first place I go to check in these situations is the credit community Discord, which I always have linked below every one of my videos. For those of y'all that want to speak with a very active credit card community and just further your knowledge of this credit card game that we all love. Before recording this, I tried like 3 different Diamond members referral links in our referrals channel in the Discord. Discord, and for whatever reason, I could not find any higher offer for a referral offer than 120,000 points. While at the same time, I figured out that I was being targeted and selected to apply for the Amex Business Gold with a 150,000 point offer for the same spend and everything. So during the application, that is going to be the link that I use. Unfortunately, I couldn't use the Discord folks' links this time, but I found a ton of value from them in the past, so I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for them. I've mentioned this in previous videos of mine about Amex welcome offers specifically, but the first thing that you should do when applying for any Amex card is find somebody's referral link, whether it's the one down below in my description or through our Discord or friends or families, doesn't matter. You'll want to copy those referral links and paste it in an incognito window and keep doing that over and over and over again until you get the highest elevated welcome offer that you know of at the time of you applying. If you just apply through like Google or a separate affiliate link, a lot of times the offer is going to be a lot lower than what you can find through those referral links in incognito mode. So keep that in mind for your next Amex credit card application. Now, a big question that y'all might have at this point, and one that I want to explore, is how is this credit card going to affect my roadmap? In reality, this card practically replaced the Citi American Airlines business card that I had on my roadmap in my last video. And the biggest reason for that is because that card really just doesn't have that high of an elevated welcome offer. I think it was for like 65,000 points for spending 4,000 in 4 months, and 150,000 Amex points are just a lot more valuable for me. On top of that, Citi would have given me a hard pull for that application, and I don't really want any Citi hard pulls right now because I do plan on hopefully adding the Citi Premier card at the end of this year or whenever I can, really. And with Citi being pretty inquiry sensitive, I just didn't really want to add to that. With Amex cards, on the other hand, though, not only will it not add to my 524 status, just like the Citi business card wouldn't have, but it also won't give me a hard pull because I'm an existing Amex customer. It goes for any Amex card, though, by the way. If you're an existing Amex customer, they should not hard pull you for any future credit cards after the first one you applied for with them. Your mileage may vary on this, but I've only ever been hard pulled for my first Amex card, the Amex Gold card, and since then, I've had nothing. You also may be wondering why I didn't go with the Hilton business card, because I did mention that if they changed that card, I would probably apply for it right away if it was competitive. And of course, in classic Amex fashion recently, they actually made this card arguably a lot worse than it was before. And again, emphasis on the arguably there because I don't really know if it's that bad of a change. But for me, the main reason I wanted it was for the Hilton Gold status, and now the Hilton Surpass card gives you that for cheaper and has better perks. So I just have a hard time applying for the Hilton business card right now with all that in mind. I know a lot of y'all have been kind of wondering about my takes on all the different credit card changes going on right now. That being like the Chase Sapphire Reserve losing the Priority Pass restaurant access, which to me didn't impact my view on the card at all, but I know it did hurt a lot of y'all's view on it. The new Robinhood Gold card, the new Wells Fargo autograph card, and the Hilton business changes that I just kind of mentioned. And as of right now, I do have a plan to talk about what changes I think Chase needs to make to keep themselves relevant. But if you'd like dedicated videos on those other topics I just mentioned, let me know about that down below. And back to my roadmap, looking even further forward down the line, adding the Amex Business Gold to my setup is practically a ghost card to my credit report, meaning that it not only won't affect my 524 status, won't impact my credit report literally at all because it's a business card, and will set me up the best for the next credit cards on my roadmap, which at the time of me filming are still either one or both of the Hyatt credit cards, as well as that Citi Premier down the line like I mentioned a second ago. So at the end of the day, this card honestly just made the most sense out of every option out there right now. And lastly, before we get into my data points, I do want to mention that this card is honestly probably going to be a cancel in year 2. This is my first credit card that I'll be applying for that if I get approved, I'm already expecting to cancel it in the second year. And the reason for that is because, like I've already said, I really just want this card for that awesome welcome offer on it, and that minimum spending requirement is not one that I'll ever be able to really naturally hit, so adding it now just makes the most sense. I don't think this card is honestly worth it for many people unless you can actually naturally get value from those credits and or are just spending a ton of money in those 4X categories. But for me personally, I just think keeping up with those monthly credits that I already find annoying and my low amount of spend just makes this card not really make that much sense for me. However, if I do get approved, I'll be doing everything in my power to get the most value back from it in the first year, so maybe it will become a keeper card. We'll see. Moving into part 3, my data points. The last personal credit card that I applied for was the Bilt MasterCard on January 17th of 2024, and my last business credit card was on the same day when I applied for the Chase Ink Unlimited as well. So that was what, about 2 months ago, since I'm applying for this on March 29th of 2024. So not too long ago, but hopefully long enough for me to get approved. And the biggest thing that I really care about with my data points, and I'm sure a lot of y'all care about as well, is my 524 status. First of all, for those that don't know, the 524 rule states that if you've been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 24 months, Chase will automatically deny you for your next credit card application with them. And I've personally been stuck at 524 since I added the Bilt MasterCard to my setup back in January. And remember that the Chase Ink Unlimited did not add to my 524 account because it's a business credit card. So even though I got 2 on one day, my 524 status only increased by 1 because of the Bilt MasterCard. That is just one of the many reasons why I think most everybody should should be looking at applying for business credit cards, which I've covered in a full video in the past, so I would definitely recommend watching that one after this one if you're interested. But if you're watching an Amex Business Gold card application, I'm sure you're already interested in business credit cards. As for my credit scores and hard inquiry counts, I got my TransUnion and Equifax data from Credit Karma, which I know some of y'all don't like, but it gives us a quick idea, which is all that I really care about. And then for my Experian data, I did get that from my Experian account. With TransUnion specifically, I have a credit score of 759 with 4 hard inquiries. With Equifax, I have a credit score of 766 with only 1 hard inquiry. And with Experian, I have a lower credit score of 736 with 3 hard inquiries. The main reason for this big dip in my Experian credit score has to do with the fact that my statement balance over the last month or so has been higher on most of my credit cards. And with credit utilization making up 30% of your credit score, a higher utilization in 1 month can drastically impact your credit score and even drop it by like 20 points, which it did last month for me. But luckily, credit utilization is a factor that has a short-term memory, meaning that as long as my balance for next month is, a lot lower, back in line with what it was before, my score should rise just straight back up to where it was. So it's nothing big that I'm worrying about here. Also, luckily, this drop won't impact my ability to get approved for this card because, like I mentioned, they're already extending me, pre-approval offers, which is really nice. But if you are somebody that's looking to get approved for a card that you're a little bit more weary about, I would recommend going in the month before you plan on applying for the card and paying off your cards a little bit early. And by early, I mean before your statement close date, because your statement close date is whenever they report your utilization to the bureaus. But if you do so, your utilization will be low, your credit score will be higher, and you'll have technically higher odds of being approved for the card that you want. And as I mentioned earlier, and as I will mention in the unboxing of this card if I do get approved, is that since I am an existing Amex customer, I won't get a hard pull for this card. It won't show up on my personal credit report because it's a business card. And basically what that means is that these numbers that you see here should not change at all because of this credit card. Also, the Amex Business Gold is a charge card, so my utilization on this card wouldn't be reported to my business credit report either. Just a small separate thing, but maybe a little, tip for y'all that don't exactly know how charge cards work. Just saying all this again to reinforce the fact that this is literally like a ghost card to not only my personal report, but in some ways to my business report as well, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, finally, the moment y'all have all been waiting for. Let's go ahead and apply for the Amex Business Gold card, and I will walk y'all through some tips and tricks that I have found in the past, 13 card applications, including this one that I've done, to help you increase your odds of being approved for it. Okay, so here we are. If you do not have this elevated offer for you, like I mentioned, you can go through the referral links in the description of this video or through your friends and family or whoever really to make sure you find the highest welcome offer you can on the card that you're applying for, which right now at the time you're recording, again, is for this 150,000 membership rewards points. We're gonna go ahead and just click on apply now here, and let's walk through the application together. Okay, so the first thing that I always check whenever I click on any application is to make sure that I still have the same welcome offer showing up here on the left side of the screen. And luckily here, we do still see the special welcome offer of 150,000 membership rewards points. So we know we're in the right place. At the top of this application, you can choose your card design options. And since I am going to be canceling this card in year 2, at least that's my plan for now, I'm actually going to apply for the rose gold version of this card. Might have just blown some of y'all's minds here because I am team classic gold, but since I'm planning on canceling it right now, I'd much rather cancel the rose gold than the classic gold. So we're going to go with the rose gold today. Now, the way this application is going to be broken down, which is very similar to any business card application, is you're first going to need to enter your business information. Sometimes it's your personal information first, but in this case, it's going to be your business information. And then down here, whenever you scroll down, you'll be able to enter your personal information as well. And this delineation is important to remember because it can get confusing if you're trying to, put different total annual incomes as well as business revenue. Like that can get a little bit confusing. So just remember they are broken down into separate sections, one being for business information and one for personal information. After entering your email address here at the very top, we'll go straight into the business information. This should be a pretty simple process. If you have an LLC or S Corp or something like that, you're going to put your legal business name as well as the business name you want on the card and a company DBA name if you do have a doing business as name. If you don't know if you have one, I would imagine you don't actually have one, so you could just click this box here. And more importantly, if you're applying for this card as a sole proprietor, which basically means that you're applying for this card either without a business actually being formed yet, or some people even apply without any expectation of having a business in the future, then you'll be applying for this whole application just using your social security number, meaning that your legal business name is your actual name and the business name on the card, again, would be your name. And if you're applying in that fashion, then this first section here, the business name, business address line, phone number, and such are going to be exactly the same as your personal information. So speaking of this other information, you're going to want to put your business address here. That, of course, is going to be either your home address or your actual business address. You hopefully know what that is, your business phone number as well. And then you get down to the specific business information being your industry type, company structure, years in business, number of employees, annual business revenue, and estimated monthly spend. So industry type is going to be an interesting one where people might, kind of freak out a little bit. If you don't like naturally fit into one of these categories, which are very specific, then you can of course hit other. And while that may not feel great to put in there, it technically is the most accurate. So just pick whichever one out of these actually applies to your business or your expected business that you might be making in the future. And then whenever you come down to company structure, Amex only gives you the options of corporation, partnership, and sole proprietorship. I did call Amex on the phone before filming this because I wanted to confirm this information, but they told me as somebody with a single member LLC, which is technically usually taxed basically as a sole proprietorship, if I did want this card reporting to my business, under my business EIN, that I should put corporation here. And as you can see, that's going to pop out a couple more checkboxes here for you, which if you did sole proprietorship, you would not have. So again, just pick whichever one most applies to you here. I'm going to go with the corporation route since that's, what I have, and it's a little bit more complicated. So I want to show you that. That's just going to ask you then if you have direct or indirect ownership of at least 25% of the business, which as a single member LLC, I own 100%, meaning I can check that. And then I would leave the second box checked where it says others in the business have direct or indirect ownership of at least 25%. So after that, we can move down to the years in business. Now, basically the tip here is that you want to be technically in business for longer rather than, less time, because that makes you more established and makes them more willing to extend you a line of credit. So if you don't have any kind of business at all formed yet, you're probably going to need to put less than 1 year if you're being as honest as possible, which is not the most ideal. But again, I'm erring on the side of being honest rather than making something up. Luckily for me, I can put 1 to 2 or almost even 3 to 5 years on mine. So we'll just go 1 to 2 for now just to make sense of this. Number of employees, since it doesn't say that you need to enter 0 if you're the only employee like a Chase business credit card application does, I would assume you're going to put 1 here if you're just, the only person in your company. And if you put 0, this is what it says here. So yep, my assumption was correct. You do need to put 1. Now, annual business revenue is a line that a lot of people get freaked out by. And the moral of the story here is that you want to, again, be as honest as possible with this application, but it's also projected revenue over the next year. So if you've made $0 in the last, 6 months of you trying this business, I would instead choose a number based on your projections of the income you'll make in the next year, because putting $0 here makes them obviously not want to extend you any credit because they're probably going to assume that you can't pay it back. Next to that is the estimated monthly spend. Same kind of thing applies here. You don't want to put 0 because then why would they want to give you any credit? But you don't want to put something like absolutely insane. I would just, again, estimate based on your projections over the next year. Now you come down to the federal tax ID, which is going to be exactly what your EIN is for your business if that's what you signed up for. If you put sole proprietor up here, I wonder how this changes. Yeah, see, it actually doesn't even have you put anything here if you're a sole proprietor. It just has you choose your role in the company, which you would be the owner of as a sole prop. For corporation, again, let's check that box. You'll have your annual business revenue and federal tax ID, and your role in company, again, depends on what you are. For me, single member LLC, I'm the owner. And after all of that business information, the rest is very simple. Your personal information is something that I don't think I need to go over here. It's just going to be the same thing you put on any credit card application. And the only, somewhat technical section here would be the total annual income. Just remember what this box says right here and basically just report any amount of income that you make here. This is before tax as well, pre-tax income. So again, just be as honest as you can with this, and hopefully it's just very simple for you. After that, it just asks you where to send your bill, because if you did have separate addresses here, you'd have a business and home address. Either one works here. Just depends on how you fill out the application. Then you have the terms and conditions down here showing you your APR, as well as your annual membership fee, transaction fees, which this has no foreign transaction fees, penalty fees, etc. We already did a review of this card and we know what we're getting ourselves into. APR should not matter to you because you should always be paying off your cards on time and in full. And with all that being said, it's time for me to fill out this application and submit it myself, and we'll see what happens together here. Now, the reason my button on the bottom here says accept this offer is because after filming that last part, I went into my pre-approval link that I found, by going to this website while logged in. So for me, this should not be anything I need to worry about. I should just be able to get the card right away. But let's go ahead and see here together. Let's go ahead and click accept this offer here in 3, 2, 1, accept. All right, well, let's see what happens. Taking a little bit longer than I expected. I'm glad we have the magic of editing because this has taken like 30 seconds. And there we go. It says good news, you are approved, which is huge. Now it does give me the option to add any employee cards if I wanted to, not only an American Express Business Gold card, but a business expense card as well. And since I don't want to do that, I'll click not now. And then I can actually go ahead and get my card number now too, which is really nice because I want to make this tax payment immediately. So I'm going to copy this information without showing it on camera, submit the payment, and then I'll be all good on that front. and will already be, $7,000 towards this welcome offer, which is great. Another interesting thing here that y'all might have thought about is the fact that we've seen that Amex tax payments sometimes will just not count towards a welcome offer requirement. But what we've seen in the past is that seems to only apply if you use that tax payment to push you over the minimum spend requirement threshold, which for me, this is only pushing me the first 70% of the way there. And my normal spend will push me over that threshold, which hopefully means that this $7,000 payment will actually count. I'll be confirming that with the Amex reps probably before the unboxing video even, so keep an eye out for that. But if you want to see me apply for some of the most popular credit cards on the market aside from this one, please be sure to go ahead and click into this playlist next. And unfortunately, I don't have Odin here with me today since I'm about to head on my trip to Charlotte to run this Spartan race I've been training for a few months. So wish me luck on that. But if you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.